5 free agents the Giants can sign who can turn around this football team. That's what we're talking about on today's show as you're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. Joe Shea and Brian Daboll are entering offseason number 3 as the brain trust of this organization, and if they don't fix this team this offseason, not saying you need to be a Super Bowl contender, but at least competent and competitive in the NFC East. If they don't do that this year, they are going to be on the hot seat this time next year. The Giants have roughly $35 million in cap space right now. They have the opportunity to add a couple of good football players. And Joe Schoen said when the NFL salary cap was announced at $255 million compared to $241 million, that changed the plans of free agency for the New York Giants. Here's an exclusive clip recorded by Chat Sports at the NFL Combine talking to Joe Schoen.
Yeah, that came into play. It really did. I was telling somebody earlier, Friday afternoon, I was watching film, and I get an email, and it's from the league, and it's the salary cap number, and I open it up, and our staff was on vacation through the weekend, so I was in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe how much that went up, because we were very conservative on our estimates in terms of our plans. So it's caused us, we're going to reconvene here and talk about some of those things that you were talking about, because again, we were operating in the 241 to 243. We were being conservative, and it's a pleasant surprise where it ended up coming in. So yeah, we're going to recalibrate and say, okay, now this is what the salary cap is. We didn't think it was going to be this much, and how will that alter our plans, if it'll alter them at all. But looking forward to doing that with my staff later this afternoon.
So Joe Schoen and his team are going to have to kind of recalibrate their moves that they want to make in free agency. They expected to have $14 million less in cap space than they did. Now they have more wiggle room to make it work. But on top of that, they can clear up even more cap space if they want to. They are going to cut Mark Lewinsky. That will save them $5.6 million. They could easily restructure Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence's contract and clear up almost $26 million in cap space. Then if you cut Aaron Robinson, Boogie Basham, and Gary Brightwell, that clears up another $3.7 million in cap space. And if you make all of these moves, on top of the jump in salary cap space, the Giants would have $74.2 million in cap space. Do I think they make all these moves? No, but it shows you that they could if they want to. And they can make some big-time signings in free agency. I'm not necessarily expecting Joe Schoen to just whip out the checkbook and use all the salary cap space that he has, because that's kind of been the opposite of the philosophy that he's preached since he's taken over as the GM. But when you have holes at major positions like the New York Giants have, you need to use free agency as a tool, not the main tool, a tool to help fix and build this roster, whether it's the offensive line, a backup quarterback, edge rusher, corner, wide receiver, playmaker. The Giants need to come out of free agency with a couple of good players. And if they sign anyone, we're going to be breaking it down on this channel. We will be live on day 1 of NFL free agency, documenting every single move that the New York Giants make. So if you're looking for free, informative, entertaining content every day on Big Blue, and you want to never miss a thing, subscribe and turn your notifications on. Alrighty, 5 free agents that the New York Giants need to sign to fix the team. I'm first looking at Mike Onwenu, the interior offensive lineman. Has played guard a lot in his career, but he's mainly a tackle at this point. Last year, at least, he was a tackle. You look at his grades from Pro Football Focus over the last 4 seasons. He's just been good. He's good in every single area. The thing that I love about him the most is he's a healthy guy. He plays a lot of football. 93% of the snaps played in 2023. 99% of the snaps played in 2022. He's been graded out well by them pretty much every single season. He would walk in and be your starting right tackle. Pro Football Focus also offers a contract projection for Onwenu, and it's 4 years at $14.5 million of average annual salary. 4 years, $58 million total, and $33 million guaranteed. That would make him the 11th highest paid right tackle in this league. So there you go there. Mike Onwenu would be my number 1 signing if I'm the New York Giants. But if I'm trying to fix this team, I'm going to do it up front in the trenches. And I'm going to sign offensive guard Robert Hunt as well. I am doubling down on the offensive line. I know you might be saying, well, Marsh, you just paid a lot of money for Mike Onwenu. And now you're going to have to pay a lot of money for Robert Hunt. But I know this. Until the offensive line is fixed, nothing matters. Everyone, say it with me in the chat right now. Until the offensive line is fixed, nothing matters. And if you're able to go get in Nwenu and Robert Hunt, you would be one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Hunt, he's a very versatile guy. He can play either side when it comes to guard, and he's been really good for the Miami Dolphins for the past couple of years. For his contract projection, it's just like Nwenu. 4 years, a little bit more at $17.5 million per year, $42 million guaranteed, and $70 million total. It's a lot of money to allocate to the offensive line. You're paying big money for Andrew Thomas. You would have paid big money for Nwenu. You would have paid big money for Robert Hunt. But nothing matters until you fix the offensive line. And if you could have a potential offensive line that features Andrew Thomas, John Michael Schmitz, Robert Hunt, and Mike Nwenu, you would have at least given your best effort to fixing the offensive line. And that's what Joe Shea needs to do. His number one job when he took over as the general manager for this football team was to fix the offensive line. We're in offseason number 3. It's time to get it done. And if you can't get it done, it's time to get somebody new in here that can get it done. Name a free agent you want the Giants to sign. Do you go offensive line? I would do it. I would pay big money and get both of those guys and try to figure it out from there. But I want to hear from you. Name a free agent you want the Giants to sign. They could also benefit from adding a playmaker on the outside. And since I've already spent big money on Mike Nwenu and I spent big money on Robert Hunt, there's not that much to go around. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a lower level free agent option at the wide receiver position, and Gabe Davis of the Buffalo Bills. I know Gabe Davis is kind of a polarizing player. Some people think he's really good. Some people think not so much. But when I look at Gabe Davis, I look at him as one of the most explosive wide receivers in the National Football League. Look at his yards per catch over the last 4 years. 16.6, 17.4, 15.7, 17.1. And he's produced in big-time games before. I also love that he has a relationship with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. And he's less than 25 years old. So he's just scratching the surface of the player he is. Big-time plays is what wins football games in the NFL. Explosive plays equals points. And he's one of the most explosive receivers in the NFL. They need someone that can go down the sideline outside of just Jalen Hyatt. Because if you have Gabe Davis on this side, you got Darius Slayton here, you got Hyatt here, that's a lot of people that puts pressure on the back half of a defense. And that could really change the way that your offense works. Contract projection, 1 year, $12 million with $8 million guaranteed. I would not be mad at all if Gabe Davis was a player the New York Giants looked at in free agency, and I expect them to be in on him, considering the ties to the Buffalo Bills with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. 2 more free agents the Giants need to sign to fix this football team coming up around the corner. But first, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the promo code CLNS, and Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just because football season is over, that does not mean your season of playing Prize Picks should stop as well. The action on the floor is heating up. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Shout out to Prize Picks. Awesome. It's a lot of fun. Check them out. Pick more, pick less. Play Prize Picks. It's a lot of fun. Check them out. Let's go. Shout out Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app. That link will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's video. I am now going to look to try to bring an edge rusher to the New York Giants. I think that is an area that they have desperately lacked talent at the last couple of years. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a promising player, and I actually think Azeez Ojulari, when he's on the football field, is really good, but the availability for him has been lackluster. So I'm going to bring in the veteran Leonard Floyd on a potential 1-year cheap deal. You look at his stats over the past couple of years. 10.5 sacks, 9 sacks, 9.5 sacks, 10.5 sacks, 19 QB hits, 22 QB hits, 18 QB hits, 19 QB hits. This guy is a professional pass rusher. And getting him on a defense led by Shane Bowen, that according to Joe Schoen is going to be aggressive in early downs, trying to stop the pass. I think adding a guy like him and letting him pin his ears back will be special. The guy has 198 QB pressures in the last 4 seasons. They need that guy. They need a guy like that. Yeah, I would like to go out and get Danielle Hunter, but I already spent big on Robert Hunt. and Mike Nguyen. So I'm going to go with the value bargain here. Pro Football Focus, they think Leonard Floyd will sign a 1-year, $6 million deal, fully guaranteed. If that's all it costs, sign me up for Leonard Floyd. The last free agent we're going to talk about that the Giants need to sign to fix this team is Kenny Moore, the corner for the Indianapolis Colts. Kenny Moore is one of my favorite players in free agency, and he fits a position of need for the New York Giants. He is a slot corner that is physical, ladies and gentlemen. He may be 5'9", but he has a PFF run grade of 71.5, and he has not had a PFF run stopping grade of below 66 since 2018. He also had a PFF coverage grade of 79.3 this year. He's predominantly a slot corner. And we know Shane Bowen is a guy that likes to run a lot of nickel and dime packages, which means more DBs on the field. And if you're going to do that, you need DBs that are willing to get downhill, get in the mix, and make plays in the backfield. 93 tackles, 65 tackles, 100 tackles, 80 tackles. He may be small, but he's lion-hearted, and he's not scared to go in and mix it up. I think he had 2 pick sixes in a game this year as well. A little bit older. I think he's 30 years old at this point. But a slot corner that's proven there, I think would be a big benefit to this football team. I'd still like another outside corner. You got Deonte Banks. I think getting a veteran that can fit the run stopping needs, as well as being a good sticky corner in the slot could really help this team out. 2 years, $13.5 million total, with $6.75 million per year and $8 million guaranteed. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I think if you signed all 5 of those guys, the New York Giants would be in a much better spot. And yeah, I could have just gone out and signed the best corner, but I tried to be a little bit realistic here. I tried to at least allocate the money that we had. So grade my free agency plan. A, B, C, D, or F. Yeah, I'd like to hit a home run in every single one, but the good teams, they find those bargain prices in those players. They produce above their price point. A, B, C, D, or F. Make sure to give me a follow over on social media at @MarshallGreen_ on Instagram and at @MarshallGreen_ on Twitter. Hit me up over there. Let's go, Big Blue.